Oh my god. Have you seen that shit? Holy shit. What the hell?
Hey guys, good morning. Surprise! So, what's going on? Rome 2 and the Amnesia walking simulator will continue soon. Who knows, maybe later today or next time. But it will continue. Last night I couldn't really sleep, and while I was trying to sleep, I was thinking about creating the Ultimate Challenge Campaign series, since we're obviously not getting Warhammer 3 next year, and we can use this like lay some groundwork for this series in Warhammer 2, so we can use it in Warhammer 3. So it's basically what this is going to be. I'm going to create like a general set of rules that will pretty much apply to all the factions in the game, and then rules specific to factions and the races in the game, to create really difficult, if not somewhat impossible, campaigns, or what with still some flavor attached to it. So it's probably going to be something that, you know, the devs really didn't think about when they were adding so much more things to the game. You know, the so-called power creep. The primary example of this power creep could be the High Elf Archmage. Like how any High Elf faction can recruit High Elf Archmages like they are the Order of the Lore Masters, without any limits or restrictions. So stuff like this, stuff like Sisters of Avalon, and the usual, you know, spam of quality and uncontrolled economy, because the Immortal Empires have gone wild and the balance have gone unchecked. So we're gonna put this in a Jibber episode, because I've not really prepared anything. So we're gonna be going from ground up on the stream, using my you know, vast Warhammer experience. And we did play it for thousands of hours of house rules back in Warhammer 1. So keep in mind, we're gonna pretty much just gonna be talking the whole stream and creating, you know, the system. And hoping the system is gonna be, you know, used for when we wanna have these Ultimate Challenge campaigns, which is not gonna be like every single campaign, but some of the campaigns in the future will be planning to use this system. So basically what we're gonna do here, we're going to create a better game to play and a better game for you guys to watch, since everything just went wild with pretty much in every category. We hit to the point of the game where we played so much that we pretty much, you can call me Dr. Elich, and that we are at a point where, you know, other than occasionally, you know, I like this faction, I'm gonna just, you know, play it again, you know, just go, you know, early game, mid game, end game again, or some random house rules, restrictions, milestone campaigns, Death Wish campaigns. We really don't even have, you know, much challenge going on unless we create it for ourselves, because we get all that knowledge, you know, all that knowledge. The random unpredictable things can still happen. There are still hard factions to play, but you know, most of these hard factions are, you know, hard to stay awake than actual challenge. Just, you know, some frustrating, tedious, you know, unpolished stuff. Professor Elich sounds better. Well, when you get a doctorate in a one category, you know, you're a doctor. You know, you don't have to be a doctor of medicine. You know, you can be a doctor of Warhammer, PhD in Warhammer science. So we're gonna call this the Ultimate Challenge Campaign, and we're going to create the system of rules for this. General, racial, and faction-wise, you know, for use in future campaigns and future, you know, of Total Warhammer, especially after the game stops getting updated. So, laying some groundwork for this. Of course, anybody is free to use this, and if you guys do, please tell me, you know, how it goes for you. Keep in mind, these rules gonna seem a little bit overwhelming to keep track of, but you're playing a strategy game, not Call of Duty, so you should put some effort into, you know, adjusting your game. And you know, every strategy game is a learning experience. If the rules change, you know, you have to adjust to the rules and, you know, learn, and, you know, change your, you know, point of view, perspective. I mean, and, you know, adjust to the new meta, which we're gonna be creating with this system. So to begin with, we're gonna go just start with the high elves here. Oh man, little Styrian gonna spam his sword this 24/7.
We can achieve much.
This world needs me.
Okay. I think that's the same voice actor that voices that character in the new Amnesia game. Oh boy. Okay. So start with the high elves. So what's the main issue with high elves regarding, you know, challenge difficulty once you get into the faction? Well, again, this is not gonna work. This is not gonna work. I don't want to be spammed by the sounds there all the time, 24/7. Can we just turn off the effects here? We're gonna talk about this, and if you guys have any suggestions or you wanna comment on it, feel free ahead. They're gonna be this thing's gonna be like adjusted, tested, and they're gonna be different versions on it as we go on. So we have to create a system that can be easily adjusted over time as well. Please, is he spamming the sword? I guess it's fine. It's fine. So what are the issues with high elves regarding you know, challenge, balance, and, you know, improved you know, experience? Well, the issue number one, which is the main issue in the game pretty much right now, are the confederations. So confederations, they gotta go. They gotta go, and for this purpose of this system, we pretty much not allowing confederations whatsoever as a general house rule. There are definitely gonna be different rules regarding to some of the factions, but for the purpose of this right now, the general house rules: no confederations, no confederations, and no confederations whatsoever for the high elves. It's like not happening. Trivializes the game and streamlines the game, and it's just silly. No confederation for the player do definitely change how the game is gonna play out. So, as a general house rules and high rules for the high elves, confederations are not allowed. So, another thing with the high elves is, you know, we have no confederations. Like, I guess we can put this under restrictions, campaign restrictions, no confederations. For high elves, this could be also under general. So, first thing first, no confederation. They just make things easier, convenient. They're not always convenient to sign. Sometimes you can rely more on diplomacy, but confederating another faction, getting the territories early, later getting another legendary lord, various campaign effects, it just makes the campaign easier. And this is not the goal of this series. It's the ultimate challenge campaign, not ultimate Snorfest. So confederations are the first to go. There might be changes between different races and factions regarding this, but right now as general house rules and the rules for the house elves, no confederations. Another thing that's you know, considered under campaign restrictions, we can talk about high elves, is their heroes. This is pretty much going to be a main restriction for all the factions. So heroes. So what can we do about the heroes? Well, every faction has multiple categories of heroes, and they used to be capped at 10, which is already an absurd cap. You can have 10 of each heroes. Heroes in the armies can work as very powerful units. either tanks, sometimes even damage dealers, wizards, adding various powerful abilities to the armies like replenishment, movement range, heck, even finding more items is powerful at times depending on your RNG. So we have to restrict heroes for sure. As a general house rules for this series, the heroes will definitely be restricted, and this means probably between 2 to 4 hero per category. So yet to be decided. We're gonna decide about this later, which means if we put it at 2 per category as a cap, the high elves will only be able to get 2 nobles, 2 lore masters, 2 mages, and 2 handmaidens. So you're gonna have to think twice if you're gonna put them in the army or on the campaign map. It will not be higher than 4 and it will not be lower than 2. It could be depending on the faction, the race, or even some flavor which we will introduce per faction, but more about this later. Flavor, for example, only EA10 can recruit 2 Finis Guard in the army, while Order of Lord Masters cannot recruit any of the Sisters of Avalon, and the Avalon can recruit 2 Sisters of Avalon in the army, while the other High Elves can only recruit 1 with the exception of Order of Lord Masters, stuff like this. So as you can see, this can be really intricate, man. It's like, hope you have a book to remember all this shit. We will put it there sometime somewhere on the web pages later. Update versions, you know, as we update. So you see where this can go, guys. You know, so this is gonna be a lot of work to actually create a system like this. It will take many hours, and probably some campaigns testing up and down. If any of these campaigns are easier with these rules we created, we're gonna have to go back to the drawing board and create a harder campaign. Exactly, we have general house rules. This is for all factions, and we have one for the high elves. I created a special folder which will put all these things, and we'll also put it later on the internet. This is like just, I guess you can call this an alpha version of this system. We're currently in the alpha, and we're gonna go to the beta before we release 1.0 version, right? So we are currently, we're just beginning, guys. I can talk about this, it's like for weeks. You know, it's like, we can talk about this for months. It's like, who needs to play the game? We can just do Jibber for the rest of the year, right? Anyways, let's talk about this. It's fun to see that stuff that's in the game. You like the perversions? Yeah. Well, the thing is this, we are not creating a system here that will be a permanent, you know, change how we play the game. But like I said, this is going to be a system we use sometimes for a campaign when we want to have a really difficult, challenging campaign. This is not to play all the time, and don't do this at home, because we're going to create such a hard, difficult challenge that it's going to be really difficult or almost impossible to complete. So this is the idea, you know, to have a really challenging campaign under a set of rules, which is, you know, challenging to play, fun to watch, and you know, struggle. See how we get through it. Yoo-hoo! Thank you, Gravy. So we are currently at the heroes. We'll talk about more of this, but the general idea is to lower the capacity for allowed heroes in the campaign. So what happened in the past? The Warhammer had 10 heroes per category. So back in the day of Warhammer 1, you could only have 10 Empire Captains, 10 Witch Hunters, 10 Warrior Priests, 10 Battle Wizards, which was already high enough of a cap. Compared to the previous games, the agent-wise, you know, like Tila Rom 2, you know, there were limits, you know. And these units becoming combat, you know, it makes sense that they're, you know, more available, especially for the AI. But, you know, the fact that in the DLC that was Queen and the Crown, I'm going to need so much water today. You know, when I'm talking like this, I'm like just dehydrating. Every time I have my mouth open for more than a couple of seconds, LH is dehydrating. I need 5 liters of water today. So where were we? Heroes, yeah. We have to put restrictions on heroes. That, you know, that's like a critical rule, and it should be a general house rules for this system, and will also be applied to various factions. There's a lot of factions in the game, so oh goddamn, I can't listen to Tyrion, man. Just how do we mute Tyrion? I want to hear the sounds. Where is Master? Oh man, goddamn Tyrion. Who has a better background there? Yeah, you can't hear anything here. I guess we'll just stay on this menu. Tyrion gonna keep drawing his sword.
Oh my god. Have you seen that shit? Holy shit. What the hell?
Thank you, McConnell. Live for T3. Doesn't look like you can actually mute that thing there. Because it's supposed to be effects. This doesn't mute it, just lowers the sound of it. I'm gonna get a headache listening to that shit.
I am sworn to avenge. It is dusk. We shall.
Light.
There is no limit to my. I was born for glory.
This thing should probably be able to be paused or something. Okay, the e-brick is a little bit more tolerable for to be on main menu. So where was I? This was sacked by Tyrion, yeah. So we're talking about heroes restrictions. Queen of the Crown out of the blue sky, no patch notes, no announcement, nothing. The hero cap gone poof. Used to be 10, and they just released the new version of the game, and all of a sudden there is no hero cap. For months we were taught it was bugged, but no, they just removed the hero cap from 10 and put it to a 100. I guess, you know, people want to do perversions of full heroes armies and stuff like that. So the hero caps went poof from 10 to 100, and not a word of it in the page notes. Heroes are powerful, and we have to definitely restrict this to increase difficulty. So for the general house rules version, it's going to be 2 to 4 heroes per category. I've not decided yet on which one, but it's definitely going to be between 2 and 4. It could be unique per faction. So yeah, I'm gonna stick it to 2 to 4 per category for the heroes. We'll get back to that later. So further campaign restrictions regarding armies. I guess this is even more important than anything else here. For the purpose of this series, for the general house rules, we're going to cap the arms to 4, with some rule regarding the garrisons. We'll talk more about this. So for the purpose of this series, the armies will be capped at 4. Army cap of 4. But we're gonna have to go more in depth what this means. So we're going to go in a way where we can have 4 armies, but we can still recruit more lords for the purpose of garrison. So when you recruit a new lord, you can immediately put in the city, and that could be, you know, a garrison lord. So I think an army cap of 4 is yes, perfect for this. We could put down to 3, and it could be different depending on the faction race, but let's just leave it at 4 right now. We're gonna have to explain, you know, a little bit more in depth how this is going to work. So army cap of 4. We're gonna have the garrison lord, which you can recruit, you know, so to defend the settlement, and you can immediately put him into the city unless there is a nearby hero or something, sometimes blocking, which will be fine. So we'll keep the army at 4. We're gonna put garrison army there. So these are the armies which can move outside the city. And it can go into the city. How are we gonna make this, clarify this thing here? So we have 4 armies on the field. So above 4 armies, we kind of have to declare which lords are gonna be for the garrison. And the garrison lord can only recruit units if it's in the city. Army cap of 4. Okay. So we'll put above 4 armies. Armies basically when you have a lord which moves around, or you can go in the city. But for this restriction, we're gonna put 4 armies. And above 4 armies, you can still recruit lord for garrison. I guess we could limit it to the zone of control of the city and the city itself, which would totally make sense. Sometimes you can put an insult in the city because of the heroes blocking the way. So it's going to be about the zone of control of the city. Army cap of 4. Both 4 armies you can still recruit the lord for garrison, but that lord has to stay within zone of control of own city or inside that city. And that sounds good. Because you're always going to need sometimes to defend things, especially when there is a bunch of other rules stacked on top. Because if we just limit to the army cap of 4, it's gonna make us play with 3 armies and always leave 1 slot for the emergencies. In some scenarios, it's gonna be way too inconvenient and even if a little bit too gamey. So we'll cap the armies to 4, which is more than enough armies to play the Mortal Empires. More than enough. Heck, you can complete most campaigns with only 2 armies. So army cap of 4, because you know we're going to be enforcing a variety in different house rules on top, and I need to get some water. God damn, already thirsty. 1 second. Okay, I'm here. What do you think about limiting army composition? Definitely gonna be something like that. Definitely gonna be something like that. We have not arrived there yet. Would make sense to scale amount of lords to regions owned. It would, but I feel like a general system of just capping armies to 4, with the exception of garrison lords, makes a little more sense and it's more convenient. So armies cap. Armies cap of 4. Above 4 armies you can still recruit the lord for garrison, but that lord has to stay within zone of control of own city or inside that city. Okay, this means this lord can still recruit units. On the symptoms of diabetes and cholesterol, so it's worth checking with a doctor. It's just me waking up every day dehydrated. Need to get a bunch of water in the morning. It's been like this for years. No confederations. Okay, so there is a rule for the garrison lords and a rule for the armies. What about the Regents of Renown? They do trivialize the game as well. We'll probably make the we'll probably just disable the Regents of Renown outside outside the garrison lords. If it comes to unit restrictions, we're probably not going to put Regiments of Renown to apply to those restrictions. Because, you know, losing cities because you can't defend them because you have no armies, and getting garrisons up, you still have to pay attention to the economy and the money sinks. So this definitely adds difficulty, but if you just add difficulty without creating a workaround, it's just gonna cause frustration. About no regiments on garrison lords, only in army lords. No, I can definitely see this, but what's then the purpose of the garrison lords? What would be then the purpose of garrison lords? Because if you get a garrison lord, most of the time the attack is imminent and you won't be able to defend the settlement. The most obvious thing to do here is to cap the regiments of renown, how many they can be in the same army. But it still has to make sense for the garrison lords, because the garrison lords are recruited for the pretty much strict use to get the regiments of renown to actually save the city. So, you know, the garrison lords exist to prevent whack-a-mole, lower whack-a-mole, the toxic AI behavior going around, and you know, targeting settlements against the chaos or any pretty much invasion. It's to lower tedium and frustration created by that. Because you just create a set before the campaign, you have to go back and then go back where you were. It doesn't add anything to the difficulty, really. This is the totally system of tedium, to counter the system of tedium. That's just because how the AI will behave around it. I think Regiment Renown cap of 2 per any army makes sense for this system. So you can recover losses immediately, and you can just pump a huge garrison just to defend something. So this basically ties just below the garrison lords. The garrison lord has to stay within the zone of control of own city or inside that city. So it's gonna be definitely conditions if you know, if something you know, happens that it's, you know, I guess there are always, you know, regarding when you have rules, always chances that you're gonna forget about it and you might do something about it. But then again, you know, just, you know, you're only human. Sometimes you're gonna forget. It's not like it's gonna be on the purpose. But still, this system will be will have to be enforced like that. Like, we are not gonna allow to send this one just to help with something else. It has to stay in the zone of control. We have to respect that. I think for the Regiment's Renown to still be usable and you know, offer something to the game, we will cap them at 2 units per army. You could just say no limits to regiment now, but not allowed to disband them. Well, that's super restrictive. Staff gun disbandment, you have to create a whole system around that. So this is usually for you know, those other campaigns. So regiments of renown. Cap of 2 per army. So we'll go with the Regiments of Renown cap of 2 per army. So any army can only have 2, including the Garrison Lords. This seems more than fair. Sometimes the shit can go bad and you just click, got a whole army there. And especially after setbacks. The setbacks should be punishing if an army gets destroyed. So I think Regiments Renown cap of 2 per army is fair. But of course, you know, this is just, we are just theorizing here. Some of these things could be totally different in the campaign, so we're gonna have to also you know, see how it is in the game compared to what we put here in theory. Okay, so this is under General House rules. The regiments now will be kept for 2 per army. So we have our 14 here. So this is let's just put the thing number 4. Since we are still under campaign restrictions, well, this one is obvious. This one is fucking obvious as fucking day is, you know, outside. No lightning strike. Lightning strike just not allowed whatsoever. It's like banned. It's the same shit as the Confederation in this case, you know, it's both campaign and battle. Trivializes a lot of factions. So, Lightning Strike, absolute no whatsoever, it just trivializes some of the difficult stuff. And it basically, the whole half of the game where it could create difficulties and challenge just disappears whatsoever, goes poof. It could be extremely situational, might not even use it the whole campaign, or you can develop your whole strategy around the Lightning Strike. So, Lightning Strike just banned. Nope. Yoo-hoo! We are creating here Ultimate Challenge Campaign Series rules, laying some groundwork here. And the Lightning Strike and Challenge, you know, they don't go together. So Lightning Strike is just no, not allowed. Doesn't exist on the campaign skills. Regarding the lords, for the general house rules, I don't think there have to be any restrictions regarding lords for the general house rules. No restriction there whatsoever. At least I don't see any right now.
I fight for the greater good. We are the legacy of Nagaryth.
What about the siege attacker? Always have to build at least one piece of equipment. This could go under certain factions rule set, but no, this is not gonna happen for the general rules. Hmm. Well, Ogrilam, for this purpose of Scarsing and Crooked Moon, it's going. This is going to be one of their advantages. Like I said, this is to create the challenge here. General house rules, the rules regarding factions and race. And for Crooked Moon, we can allow the Lightning Strike just to be their unique thing. Every faction will have something like that. Every faction will have something like that. So this is just the beginning. We're not gonna go into faction specifics. No retreat. That removes a whole part of strategy in the game's role team. We're already creating a set of rules that will make things difficult. If you disable, a part of the strategy in the games, like might as well, play with one finger. So no, this is stuff like this has to be specific to something else. This is gonna be a whole system. This is just the beginning, so there's gonna be a wall of text here. Disabling retreat would just make a lot of these things too harsh. So we're just going with some of the core stuff here regarding the general house rules. So we kept the armies to 4. We declared the rule against the garrison lords. The regiments renowned have been kept at 2 per army. Confederations for the general house rule are completely disabled, including lightning strike. This thing trivializes the game. In the hero section, we just basically declare that there is only gonna be a cap for each category, but more about this, when we get to it. Okay. We're gonna have to talk about auto-resolve. We're gonna have to talk about auto-resolve here, guys, and this is like the big boogeyman here. The elephant in the room. The auto-resolve and balance of power. This is one of the most difficult things for devs probably to balance in the game. So I guess the current 6 we could talk about the auto-resolve. Balance of power. Auto-resolve. We have to create a system where auto-resolve be used, but not abused. So the purpose of this system is like what I suggested, like for the legend difficulty in general. It should be part of the legend difficulty back in the day. We were saying how if there is more than 10 units on each side, you're not allowed to auto-resolve, with probably exception of rebellions. But they could just balance the whole auto-resolve regarding this thing. So what kind of rule can we put around balance power and auto-resolve? Because it's definitely abusable. Sometimes more casualties, less casualties, but we have to make a rule regarding this for this. Because there are certain factions which are not favoring auto-resolve, but in battles they could cause definitely some damage. On high difficulty, depiling damage, creates long-term setbacks which increase difficulty and can lead into the, end of the campaign. And this is how kind of atmosphere we have to create, where it's less snowball, you know what I mean? Less snowballing. So, completely preventing auto-resolve is tedious. Even if it's cool for a couple of days, it's tedious. You can see it in the Rome 2 campaign we're playing right now. The follow-up battles, oh my god, just shoot me now. I used to fight manually all the battles. I fought probably more manual battles than anybody else in the Total War series. And we have to make sure that the big battles are fought. So I think a good balance would be it should not be built around the balance of power, because the balance of power is broken. It's like there's no discussion about this. It's broken. Even the developers themselves have said, that people are auto-resolving too many battles and they want more people to fight battles, and they've fucked up the whole balance of power auto-resolve system in the game, to the point where even the most, people who, play the game for thousands of hours, who didn't never really like auto-resolve, is starting to like auto-resolve just because how fucked up the system is. So it should not be made around balance of power. If it's, high yellow, the balance of power is fucked. There is no discussion about this. You can have an army facing even a rank 4, 5, 6 army of chaos that have 8, 9 large units, and you can have 90% yellow. When you go into that battle, depending on your composition, you'll piss blood to win that battle. So balance of power cannot dictate the system. It has to be the size of the army that dictates the system. And that's how it should be for developers as well. Then you create a system where the size of the army, auto-resolving smaller battles and the one-sided battles, because of the party size and the quality. This is probably why the balance of power is created to, lower tedium, so you can actually, just auto-resolve this battle. But not that you could auto-resolve big battles. Like, having an army of something, and the enemy lizardmen spawn a dino army, and because of the dino army, don't have the high leadership and don't have range, and you're gonna be favored there. And who in their right mind will go fight that battle? If you're not an expert, you're gonna get fucked. So yeah. The balance of power is broken. It's a dog shit. Every time I go to the toilet to take a big dump, I take my pen and I type balance of power on it before I wipe my ass. So fuck balance of power and fuck the devs for making it so bad. They're totally clueless how the complex battles should work. It's so fucking obvious that small battles are the ones that should be you favor, without some bullshit yellow bar being, 50-50. And the big battles, no, there should not be a single big battle in the game where the balance of power should be over 60% in your favor. Those battles are the battles that matter. Those battles is the one we should fight. Those battles should be the ones that devs care about us not auto-resolving. And not those trash battles, follow-up battles, and fucking rebellions. So balance power is broken, and we have to create an auto-resolve system which is balanced, used around the size of the armies. So regarding the size, probably a regular army size starts at around 15 units. So we could just put it around 15 for now. So if enemy army has 15 or more units, we always have to fight the battle. If it's less than 15, 14 or less, and if it's convenient for us, we can take that auto-resolve. So we'll put around 15. Okay, balance of power auto-resolve. No auto-resolve if enemy has 15 or more units. So 15 or more units, that's gonna be the rule for now. This could be adjusted to 14 or more units, 13 or more units, or 16 or more units, but let's keep with the number of 15 or more units, with the exception of rebellions. Because the rebellion system is dog shit, and you gotta be a total pepega to lose against the rebels. There are definitely exceptions, but this rule will not apply to rebellions. This is just, guys, this is just bare bones. We just scratched the surface. We just scratched the surface. This is like, we're just beginning. We're just beginning. If you think we're gonna be playing the game, come back, you know, some other time. With exception of rebellions. Rebellions, I can't write for shit. Okay, I think it's too early in a rebellion. I think this is fair, guys. I think this is fair. So, balance power auto-resolve part of the rules. No auto-resolve if enemy has 15 or more units, with exception of rebellions. I think you cannot make it more fair than this. I think this should be probably like the standard for the legend difficulty anyways. So the balance of power and auto-resolve part of the rules will be decided by the size of the enemy army. Okay. I think this is pretty clarified here. If anything not clarified here, guys, tell me and we've clarified, so you know, even Pepegas understand. We'll still stick to the general house rules here. Yeah, immortality was definitely on my mind, and we're going to allow immortality on only one character. Immortality definitely trivializes things, especially if you're doing a longer game, and you know, especially when we are making such an intricate system here, we definitely have to put more thought into mortality. We're going to allow immortality on only one character. So you can put immortality on one of your lords or in one of your heroes. So only one immortality can be skilled. So regarding immortality, we'll allow immortality only for one character. Why one character? Why not 2, 3, or 4? Well, I feel like for the immortality, it should be only one or none. Because I feel like allowing immortality to one character, you know, makes the character, you know, special, especially if you're playing a long, difficult campaign. And allowing no immortality, you know, it's less fun. It did exist in the game. And I feel like allowing it for one character, it's more than fair. While still having most of the characters gonna be probably get killed if shit goes bad. You do have to get rank 20 to get immortality. Immortality means if a lord or hero gets wounded, defeated in battle, they don't die, they just get wounded. So to be clear, just lords or lords and heroes. Immortality in general skill. Okay, to make it clear, we'll say only one lord or hero in the campaign can skill immortality. Because, you know, creating a difficult system, challenging system, and then just denying everything, deny Regime's Renown, deny battle skills, deny campaign skills, deny the skills, deny Lightning Strike, deny Confederation, deny Diplomacy. It can't just be deny everything, not allow everything. It still has to be fun. And I feel like only one character be able to skill immortality is unique. It's unique, and it still exists in the game if it's not completely disabled. Unlike, you know, Lightning Strike Confederations, this just breaks the game, and the balance of the game just gets wrecked. The difficulty of the game just stops existing. So stuff regarding Confederations and Lightning Strike, they just no. While stuff like immortality, which is still, you know, a no-brain skill. It's like you get rank 20 getting immortality, right? You don't want your heroes and lords dying and, you know, losing all their equipment. if only one Lord and hero in the campaign can skill immortality, so that character will be more special. You're gonna put better gear on those characters, while still other characters have a risk of dying and losing all their equipment. There should still be some punishment for losing battles, because if you're a Lord and 3 heroes, you just fuck up a move, and if the only punishment from that setback is you losing that army for a few turns, and you're losing 2 minus elements, there's no punishment at all. That's just tedious and grinding. But it does sound worse. Like we lost everything. It has to be consequences. This is what I'm saying. Consequences. When there are no consequences for setbacks, it's just tedious grinding, right? We are definitely gonna put some loose conditions too. But more about this, I guess this is under campaign restrictions, so we'll get to that. When a new DLC drops, do you jump into ME or do the Vortex for it first? I do jump into the ME or from the building. No Vortex now. I'm gonna get some more water. Lots of Jibber Jabber here. Be right back, boys. I assume characters that start with Immortality Bella Ghosts are not part of the rule. Yeah, that's obvious. Yoo-hoo. Where were we? Regarding restricting skills, we have no lightning strike. We're not gonna be restricting character skills, battle skills, or campaign skills. This is the fun part of the game and the way of building your lords and armies. As most of the characters are gonna be able to get killed, so restricting these things, should not be a thing. The heroes are gonna be limited, and only the legendary lord and one of your other lords could get immortality. Of course, some factions, have their things into the rules that we create, so it's gonna be different. Like I said, we're creating a general house rule system here where there are gonna be high elves and the other factions within high elves or factions that have their different things going. Main example, like somebody mentioned, campaign restriction, no lightning strike. Well, Scarcely has a lightning strike, and in this case of Crooked Moon, he'll be allowed to use the lightning strike, so it could be like his thing. So there'll be definitely some things within the faction which will be created, but more about this later. We're gonna create this system for all the factions, but I doubt we're gonna be playing all the factions with this within this rule set. But it's gonna be there. And as they release new stuff, update the game, even Warhammer 3, we can just adjust this rule sets, as the game gets adjusted as well. Armies, regiments, no confederations, heroes, no lightning strike, balance of power, auto resolve. Well, we did it for immortality. Okay, let's talk about the alliances for the general campaign restrictions. They could theorize the game for some of the factions. For some of the factions, just make things worse. So you're gonna have to make it unique in a way where we still can use the alliance, but we don't just create big swathes of factions allying with each other while it can still create hostilities. It's probably, you know, that makes sense, you know, not just for the restrictions, but for the sense of the game, is to allow allying within your race. You know, because we don't want to just restrict the game here, make it difficult, but we also want things to make a little bit sense and add some flavor to it as well. Amnesia, how will average even survive this? Man, don't shoot me now, but other than some jump scares, you know, the game's a little bit boring, man. I played the installation, man. It's like everything is dog shit after that. Because, you know, one thing is creating a system of rules, you know, that make campaign difficult, but it also has to be convenient to track these things. And, you know, not just, you know, going like write a whole book, and every time you do something in campaign, you're gonna have to go check the book if you can allow to do that, and how you're gonna go about it, you know. One thing is, you know, me remembering all this shit, but, you know, the viewers also have to keep track of these things. They have to keep that in mind that there's a lot of, you know, people who won't be able to follow what the fuck is going on. So it's not just, you know, the system that has various rules and the underlying conditions for those rules or the factions. It has to be, you know, you know, easy to follow. We'll go back to the hero category. We'll just have the right now we just announced that the heroes will gonna be kept on the campaign map in the campaign per category. How they're gonna work with the armies and that we're gonna have to go more into that. Well, stuff like this we are creating a system where we can use the skills and the other skills. This is gonna have an intricate system going on for pretty much all parts of the game. Limiting stuff like this, like Atama, is like one of the things just that I just mentioned. Can you share document once you're done somehow? Yeah, we will. We'll put it on the web page as well. Limit the archer per army. Yeah, there's definitely gonna be systems for that for the range units. We are currently under the general house rules here. I don't need to use them more for this. The Sisters of Avalon will be kept in check, don't you worry about that. We are not there yet, we're just currently on the general house rule system here. So let's go with this regarding the allies. So, campaign restrictions. Now, I'm not sure this will, I guess campaign house rules. Campaign rules. Well, maybe in a regular game, Makatama. Maybe in a regular game. Just think about adding all these rules and then, you know, restricting something so basic as movement. Because, you know, the AI will not be playing with these rules. You're creating a whole wall of difficulty, and the AI will not be playing with it. You are going to be playing with it. So some of the things like this, you know, make no sense when you already create everything else. So the general diplomacy, like non-aggression pact, military action, and trade agreement, is no-brain. You can be doing pretty much just keep it regular with between all the factions, but with the rules of allying, because as the campaign progresses, the penalties can add up. If you don't have an alliance, with some factions, it will not be enough to just have those three. So you're gonna have to give a gold sink. Or you have to decide who you're gonna ally with, so you can't ally with everybody. Because if you ally with the Empire and you ally with Bretonia, then both Empire and Bretonia like you more, because you're allied with you know, both of them. But if you only ally with one side, the other side could cause problems. How much you're allowed to recruit one hero per region you own? That's not a restriction at all. That's just like how the game should be. That's like pretty much the game rule. So regarding alliances, okay, we're gonna make it interesting regarding alliances. We're gonna be just like a no-brainer and then interesting. Of course, like I said, some factions and races will have different things regarding this, which will be, you know, of course, stated. We're not just trying to, you know, limit everything. We're trying to also create things that make sense and add a little bit of flavor too. Well, Ogreland, there are traits that exist that even dwarves hate other dwarves. It's just enforced arbitrary difficulty. There's a lot of arbitrary difficulty in the game, but people don't even understand how it works, but it's in the game. We'll go, can only ally with your... Okay, you can ally with factions of your race and one more race which is declared at the start of the campaign. We'll make this a little bit interesting. So let's say we're playing the High Elves, so we can only ally with other High Elves. And we have to declare another race at the start of the campaign. Which means, you know, as the campaign progresses, those factions, you either have to help them to become strong, or you can choose your allies later when you see who the fuck is powerful, you know. So at the start of the High Elf campaign, you could declare one more race, like let's say you declare the Empire. And Empire might just get destroyed. Let's say, you know, don't kick with me here, let's say the Empire gets destroyed. And then you lost pretty much the only other ally option. So what can be done about this? You can send one army to help Empire become strong, so you guarantee a strong ally, or you just leave it a chance. Leave it a chance if, you know, they're gonna become strong. This type of rule prevents you deciding, you know, your strong allies. Like let's say you're playing High Elves, and you have the money. You have the money, you have the funds, you have diplomacy, you have influence. to make any faction that becomes powerful from the order to become your friend, your ally, and completely trivialize that part of the game. Just create massive buffers and difficulty just goes poof. So in this case, for the high elves, how this would work, like I said, some factions might have this expanded, but we're going for talking for the general house rules here. So regarding alliances, we can ally with a faction of your own race, so the high elves can ally other high elves. And one more race, which is declared at the start of the campaign. So at the start of the campaign, you have to declare who is going to be your ally. You have to declare a set of factions, like the Lizardmen, Tomb Kings, the Empire, the Dwarves, Bretonia, Southern Realms. I think we're going to put like stuff like humans in 3 categories. We'll put them in the Empire, Bretonia, and the Order. So if if in case you decide, I mean, why would you decide for the Southern Realms? It's going to be Southern Realms and Kislev, right? Alliances, any alliance is general. So I think declaring an ally at the start of the campaign definitely adds to the campaign. So you can't wait, 80 turns and then decide, oh shit, dwarves have 50 settlements. Let's ally with the dwarves. No, you have to declare for who you're gonna work with at the start of the campaign, and this adds, like a little bit flavor and random to the campaign. This random can be influenced by you helping those factions from the start or the moment you get your 2nd or 3rd army, and I feel like this is great. What do you guys think? Of course, regarding the state of the game, some allies will be, a safe choice, while some things could be unpredictable, and you can have random things. You guys, watch the shit to see, sometimes, vampires win. Who knows? Maybe even Kislev takes all over the Empire one day. And I feel like you have to remember, guys, we're trying to create this to be clear for the viewers and, fun to watch. Not just, let's cut off the leg and the arm of the streamer and restrict everything and let's not allow anything, just make sure this campaign is going to be a loss. Now, we have to just create something that is difficult, close to impossible, but still doable, and that is also, has clear rules, and that is also, interesting to watch. So there's some flavor has to exist. What do you do with other factions? You can do still diplomacy. It's obvious. I feel like this is obvious. Like, if you are high elves and you declare for the Lizardmen, you can still do diplomacy with Bretonia and the Empire. You can still sign non-aggression pact. You can still sign military access. You can still sign trade agreement. You can still invite them to war. You can still bribe them. You can still use influence. You just cannot ally with them. No alliances, no war coordination, no alliances between other factions, no easier relations. So you gotta use other systems to improve these relations. An ally with faction of your race and one more race which is declared at the start of the campaign. Yeah, I like that. I like that. I think we should let's join war exploit as well. It's a game mechanic. There's a lot of game mechanics that just poorly designed. Doesn't mean they're exploits. So in my Rome 2 campaign, where the AI is even more Pepega than here, we have joined war of Syracuse against Carthage, and we got money for it. So you're telling me you should deny me money because I want to join the war. And immediately, a turn later, Carthage invites their client state to join war against us. System works. Player is better at using diplomacy, so you are trying to deny no diplomacy to the player. The diplomacy exists for the player, not for the AI. How about you can declare war on your own kind? No, that's too restrictive. We're trying to recruit a system which can be adjusted to the game later. You have to understand the game creates arbitrary choices and situations where it just exists there to cause difficulty. Like, for example, Ultuan. They are ardent high elves, and they are very high elves. There are systems that only exist in this game that you know, either would work against this or would make these things easier. We already have no confederations, and all the very guys will always declare war on you anyways. The general house rules might not apply to all factions. We're talking about general house rules and the high elves right now. We're not talking about Knights of Kalador. We're not even there yet. Just like this is like much later. I'm gonna create the system for all the factions, but it's gonna take a while to get there. So regarding campaign restrictions, we got alliances, we got immortality, we got auto resolve sorted, no lightning strikes, hero capacity, 2 to 4 per category. 2 is kind of like a bare minimum, so they still exist in the game more than 1, so they're not unique. 2 seems like it makes sense, 3 makes sense, 4 might be one too many. I feel like we should not allow 4 for sure, because the armies are kept at 4. We'll limit heroes to 3 per category. 3 per category makes sense. So you can still put some in the army, but not in every army. And you kind of have to decide if you want to put some on the campaign map or in the army, because you have to scout around. Yeah, 3 per category sounds right. So, like I said, some of these things can adjust as we see the experience as the game changes. There will definitely be restrictions that got into depth regarding these things. Well, if you lose one, you recruit another. You can only have 3. I don't know how these things are not obvious. I guess I'm guessing as like my mind works differently. So you can only have 3 masters, for example. If one dies, and get the third one again. I guess we'll clarify. So let's say we have 3 nobles with the high elves. We're gonna decide if we want to put some in the army or keep them all in the campaign map. Because we do need spies, we might need influence. It's like the mages with this rule are, trust me, they're not gonna be milking the high elf economies. They're gonna be in the armies. When you have 3 mages only, like with the high elves, you're gonna put them in the armies. You're not gonna try to do some shenanigans on the map with 3 mages. It's not gonna be happening. You might still get the mage with the trade that increase global tax, but it will still be in the armies. What do we have here? What about technologies? I don't think we should touch technologies. We'll leave technologies as they are because they're fun, and we'll make everything around it with technologies in mind. Okay, let's go a little bit more in the high elves up there. We don't have to put this here. So high elves in general. You don't have to actually have this. It's gonna be a little bit easier like this. Have a general house rules on the top. Okay, let's go with the number 1 for the high elves. We'll start regarding lords. Regarding lords. Heroes cap of 3 per category. We will only allow 1 archmage in the high elves campaigns. Only 1 archmage can be recruited. So even if it dies, you can get another. We'll go with the ultimatum here. As the archmages are what really shuts down a lot of stuff. Regarding lords, so the armies are capped at 4. We will only allow 1 archmage recruited. Something regarding magic lords, you can only pick 1. You can only pick 1. Takeless will have a different rule regarding this. Hold on, just hold on. Do we go into like different categories here? Or we just make a category for all the high elves here? I don't think we have to make it faction specific. We can just put it under, mention it under the high elves category. We're gonna create general under the high L, so you don't have to go every section specifically. That's, you know, would be easier, a little more clear for the people to follow. These are the general house rules, which will pretty much apply to all factions. While this is for the high elves. Some of these rules may not apply to all factions. So since the high elves are first, we're doing them first. Yeah, the chat doesn't have the perspective from the streamer point of view, but you know, keep doing suggestions, guys. One of you might actually nail something. So we gotta. That's the elephant in the room. Campaign objectives. What will be the point of all these rules if we just have to do the usual campaign objectives? So fuck the usual campaign objectives, and we have to create our own. Has to be something that makes sense for the race and something that makes sense for the faction. So this is probably going to be the most difficult thing for high elves. Well, archmages is obvious. They are so fucking stupid, we're only going to allow one. Just so the fact they exist. Okay, we'll go with this. Only one archmage can be recruited in the campaign, and we'll allow the orbital master to recruit 2. Which means if they get killed, you don't get any more. So gonna be careful if you're gonna get a one random or you're gonna get one later. I think that's more than fair, and we'll keep it with orbital master and the flavor there. Archmage Lord for Pepegas. So what, Mr. Streamer? What is this Archmage? You know, it's like mages, Archmages, the same shit. Are they all Archmages girls? To clarify here, this is not same as the cap. Only one Archmage Lord can be recruited in the campaign. If she dies, you can't recruit another. With the exception of Warlord Masters, they can recruit 2. I think that's fair. This one will be definitely a bigger rule set, because this is within the faction. We'll make it around the faction, not really around what you control. Only one Sisters of Avalon allowed in the army. Avalon can have 2 pair army, and Order of Lore Masters can get any, with exception of... I'm not gonna put a regular, we'll put an exception of Roar. So we'll allow only one Sis of Avalon allowed in the army, which is a ridiculous unit. There are other archers in the game which already can be buffed nicely. One Sis of Avalon is a fucking cannon unit, just like delete something.
This
Avalon,
world
it's 1L.
Dragonfire runs through my veins.
So one Archmage Lord can recruit in the campaign. If she dies, you can recruit another. Order of Masters can recruit 2. Only one Sis of Avalon allowed in the army. Avalon can have 2 per army, and Order of Masters can get any, with exception of Roar. Will not allow any Sis of Avalon for Order of Lore Masters. And they'll have an exception. Regiments are now an exception to the rule of what units they can get. Because, you know, their regiments are renowned after all. Maybe we should just clarify that the regiments renowned don't apply to the unit restrictions, since they're unique. Yeah, I might as well continue with the unit restrictions. The Order of Lord Masters can recruit any Sisters of Avalon except the Regiment of Renown. I think we're gonna be capping missile infantry at 10 for the high elves in the army. Well, if we limit Finisgard, if we limit Sister of Avalon and some other units, the Sword Masters, you know, become, you know, viable. But that is the whole point of this as well. Not just creating difficulty, but also creating some flavor too. The Order of Lord Masters can have 2 Archmages. The high elves like to shoot things, and they use magic to We're gonna have 3 mages, 1 archmage for the regular, and 2 archmages and 3 mages plus Teclis for the other lore masters. Nobody gets killed. The Teclis already have a much stronger lord setup. But it has a, could be as a difficult starting position for the extra armies. Because random shit can happen. This seems overly complicated. I don't think so. Once we start playing a faction, you'll have this text in clear view. Most house rules are, you know, gonna be easy to track once the campaign starts. This is some just groundwork. If we start playing a faction like Order Lone Masters, you'll get pretty much all information in the campaign command. High elf flavor is with a bow, well, but they have other units as well. I think we should cap the army to 10 missile infantry. 10 missile infantry, really. So you still have 10 other units. While, you know, the other units could also be bolt throwers, Tirnock chariots. This is just a lot of theory here, real. We're basically just laying some groundwork. I mean, this one is pretty obvious and gonna be easy to remember. For the factions, it's gonna be a little bit different, so we can enforce some flavor. When we do this Ultimate Challenge campaign, we'll be using this set of rules what we create on these streams, and we can just adjust them depending on the you know, experiences and changes to the game. So missile infantry will be capped to 10 per army. So these are gonna be pretty much the archers, Lothern Sea Guard, the Shadow Warriors, Shadow Walkers, anything that says a missile infantry. You don't include artillery. The bolt throwers are not powerful; they're average, so I should not include that. No. It's just for the player, Moron. Just for the player. In using mode to prevent confederations, you know. I mean, you can still use Tirnock chariots, Illyrian reavers, bolt throwers. One moment. To keep it simple, we probably just have every faction have just one thing. Like the Orlor Master can have 2 archmages, while regardless of Avalon, the Avalon can have 2. but will not allow any sets of Avalon for the Order Lord Masters. Or maybe to, like what that guy said, to not make it overly complicated, we should not, pretty much just do one restriction skills and not keep the second one. For the sake of, you know, Pepega's keeping up. Because this is the rule for the all high elves, and a special thing of the Order Master, they can get 2. Restricting a 1 unit of Sons of Alnon in the Lord Master armies doesn't really do that much. You do still get 1 powerful unit. Heck, you can just then get just 1 unit of Shadow Warriors instead, and in some cases might even be better. You're definitely gonna consider something regarding chaos for these campaigns. Until the chaos gets fixed. Capital, we're gonna put it 9. So we'll move this restriction here to make it more streamlined here. You're getting a house rule set within the vanilla environment, which you know, changes when they pretty much just they update the game, and it can be easily adjusted if any things need to be adjusted. We can always revisit this at some other point. Missile infantry cap 10 per army. We should get a little bit more unforced variety here regarding the units. Does increase difficulty with some factions. Makes the battle skills a little bit weaker, more balanced. Roars are unique and they can only 2 per army. We'll make the roars ignore the unit restrictions to make things convenient. It makes the roars a little bit more special. Regarding unit variety, if we kept units at 4 or 5, well, some units can only assemble an army early on. So it makes sense to cap the units above tier 1. So this is the most obvious thing to do. So the lower tier units are not capped, but tier 2 and higher are you know, for the sake of variety. It's per army. Some units will be restricted, like the top tier units, but there also has to be a rule regarding variety. We'll go through all the factions regarding this, you know, like one Sister of Avalon, one Archmage law, so there's not really have to be specific unit rule per tier. We are laying some groundwork for a series we're gonna be doing in the future, every now and then. Since next year we are not getting Warhammer 3 probably, and you know, to keep campaigns more interesting over time, because we've been playing the games so fucking much, to make things you know, challenging and more fun to watch, we're gonna be creating rule sets for this, which we'll be doing sometimes, not like every single campaign. You could play as for Chaos, well, you could fuck off as well. Okay, 10. It's gonna trigger me for them to put a 0 here. When you have to put a rule regarding variety. Toxic Streamer. The mod pushers are the most toxic scumbags in alive, man. There's gonna be a special type of hell for them when they die. So tier 1 will have no cap on the units, because you know, you can't really play the early game. So we just kept units above tier 1. Three seems like a weird number. 4 makes sense, while the special units can always be kept differently. 4 has always been a number regarding this when it comes to variety. 4 or 5. 5 is also an odd number for this. So we'll cap it at 4. Units above tier 1 are kept at 4, faction caps still apply. That's regarding one Sis of Avalon. So what does this mean with dwarves? Let's say we play dwarves. On tier 1 you have miners and dwarf warriors, for example. If a building allows that unit at lower tier, it's considered that tier, like Eternal Guard with shields, it's tier 1. Miners with explosives, tier 1, and Dwarf Warriors who grab weapons, tier 1. Can only use 4 flagellants. Well, why would you even play Volkmar, shit wizard, in the first place? Dot 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 dot. Imagine starting campaign with Volkmer or Karl Franz. Okay, it's number 10. Volkmer does not exist as a faction, so he's irrelevant. Units above tier 1 are kept at 4 per unit. Faction caps still apply. We're gonna give an example, you know. Only 4 quarrelers allowed. What's that short for the example? Name it Black Swords. Shit, Wizard, don't you have some better shit to do? Guy, go play Crusader Kings 3 and some shit. Is this thing you put for the, you know, example, provide example? No, it's not the right thing to do. Use. Exempli gratia. In example. I don't know, man. This shit is so fucking confusing. I'll just type example here. We're Pepega here. When Volkmer becomes gets his own faction, we can include him in the rules. Until then, fuck him. He's just a nobody. Units about tier 1 are kept at 4 per unit, faction caps still apply. Example, only 4 quarrels allowed. Okay, yeah, Eltron, we can specify this. Per army. It's per army. Are these rules for refugee campaigns just brainstorming? This is just when we're doing the ultimate campaign challenge series. We are creating the rule set for it. Wanted this for next year because we knew it's not going to be Warhammer 3, but at some point we would have created this for Warhammer 3 when the game was at the end of its you know, update life, you know, to make campaigns more challenging. If we want to play more challenging campaigns. This doesn't mean we're going to be doing it every campaign. Tier 1 or 2 units only challenge, well, this is an easy game. All these units combined, you know, all these rules combined, it's a different thing than, you know, just having tier 1 and tier 2 units. This is not like we did in Warhammer 1 that it's gonna be, you know, some of these rules apply. This is all gonna apply. All of it. To the campaign. It's like that Monster Dwarf campaign we had last year. This pretty much was one of these things. Except, you know, better create a system for all it instead of just making it separately every now and then. For the high elves, we have missile infantry capped at 10 per army. So we should probably put this one above, because this is like more core to their rules. Gonna have to set up campaign objectives. One of them is probably gonna be Ultron. 10 seems like too much. It's the high elves, so it fits the high elves. Only one of those can be Sisters of Aulon, with the exception of Regiment of Renown and Aulon themselves. So if you play Aulon, you can have 3 Sisters of Aulon in Alariel's army. So other 7 have to be different units, and you still get 10 other unit slots. So we have one for the other Lord Masters for regarding Archmages. We have a rule for the Sisters of Avalon and for Avalon themselves. The Silvering Guard exists now, so the Spearmen are no longer, you know, the only other pretty much unit there that is anti-large on the low tier. English Cake, you know, you're missing a cup or something there. But, you know, there you go. You might want to go watch that channel instead. Where are we? Let me get some water. Okay. Okay, we're back. So we got Auroron Masters, we got Avalon. So we need to do a special thing for Eatane. Well, it's obvious that only one Phoenix Guard can be in the army because it's already too much. It's the same shit as the Iron Breakers, you know. It's like one only carries the army. Like you put several in the army, it's like unless you're a Pepega, you can't lose anymore. Per army. Eatane will have 2 allowed per army. This is gonna be their thing. So if you use the regiment now, you have 3 with Eatane. There is gonna be restriction for dragons as well, we're getting there. They're currently making unit restrictions for the high elves. The regiments renown ignore unit restrictions, which means you can still have 2 regiments renown in the army, and they can be a Phoenix Guard and a Sister of Avalon. So Tyrion can still have 3 Phoenix Guard and 2 Sisters of Avalon in the army. Because they're unique. The Sword Masters are kept at 4, Dragon Priests are kept at 4, these units are nothing special. By having these units kept at 4, gave you more incentive to use them, instead of using extra archers. The mounts are not counted as units, they don't get unit bonuses from battle skills or technologies. So this is Eatane.
We must preserve. I was born for glory.
We're gonna put so it's gonna be a special thing for Alitanar. No unit restriction for the what them called Shadow Walkers, so he can have 10 of them. I'm not seeing anything else for Alitanar there. Now 10 is already enough. I think we just remove restriction on the unit rule for Alitanar. That does make sense for him, especially early game. It makes him then unique to other ones. Now we're not gonna be putting buildings to add more units. It's just gonna be around the faction. Already said that. Make chaos great again. It's probably gonna be the last thing that we're taking into account. Because if we use a chaos mod, the game gets become way more difficult all of a sudden. because of the auto resolve rule and the unit restrictions. What am I doing? I don't know. You know, I'm usually I've been doing these things offline with my spare time to develop rule systems, but we're doing it on stream this time in a Jibber episode. Creating ultimate campaign challenge rules for the general house rules and the faction rules. We'll be playing campaigns with these rules in the future. You know, Shit Wizard, if I put a Chaos mod with this, it's probably gonna be only 3 times. 3 or 5 times, not above that. Yeah, this is a, you know, this is a thing, Oglam. I'm just considering this. So we'll go together with the rule of. Alita will respect this rule. He will respect this rule, but he will ignore the variety rule. So he can use 10 Shadow Walkers. If you lose a settlement, you have to destroy a public order building, like people getting mad because their friends died, not applying to greenskins and Skaven. We will consider the chaos option, Shit Wizard. It's nothing is for sure. The plan address rebel farming or not? Not. It's just part of the game. The legend difficulty, pretty much. You have to mod the game to address that. There's already a lot of other rules that go into place. So, Nagarite. Nagarite,
Serve the Shadow King.
If you put 10 Shadow Walkers in the army, this means no Lothran Seaguard and no Sister of Avalon. I think 10 for Nagarite to be the rule and flavor so they can use all is fine. I mean, the Eating gets extra Phoenix Guard, Avalon gets extra Sister of Avalon, and Teklas gets an extra Archmage. This is just a strong early game unit. It's not a strong later on, and not in every situation. Okay, this will be the rule for Naga, right? The starting spot is much harder than Avalon or Eatane or Everest. You can only use 4 Sword Masters Storm Knight, that's more than enough Sword Masters. We want to have one thing perfection, so it doesn't get, you know, overly complicated. So what do we have next? We have Eltarion and we have Imrik. Imrik can use 4 Dragon Princes. That's more than enough, Mr. Wonderboy. Thank you, Lockjaw.
Oh my god. Have you seen that shit? Holy shit. What the hell?
We have to also keep in mind the quests. We'll probably make a rule that the quest objectives ignore any campaign rules, so we can complete the quests. This could be like a general rule. The dragons that Imri gets, they're unique, right? So they're not called Sun Dragon, they're not called Moon Dragon, they're not called Star Dragon. Okay. So regarding the rule of the flying units of the High Elves, specifically Phoenixes and the Dragons. So we limit only 1 dragon per type allowed in the army. So you can have 3 dragons in the army, as long as they are Sun Dragons, Moon Dragon, and Sun, Moon, and Star. Knights of Kalador have unique dragons, so they can add more. One on the Lord is different. The mounts don't count. The mounts are not units. They're not affected by battle skills, they're not affected by technologies, they're not affected by other buffs. The Lords and Heroes don't count the mounts. Mounts are an exception. There has to be, I feel like, a glossary regarding some of these things. Sounds like too many dragons, to be honest. Well, the Sun Dragon is super squishy, and the Moon Dragon and Star Dragon, that's 2 of them that can actually fight. For the Kalador, it's their flavor. They have a shitty position. Man, and new players viewing this are going to be lost. New players should go watch some of them YouTubers, learn the game, then come here. Only one dragon per type allowed in the army. We'll cap the phoenixes as well. So you can have one moon dragon, one sun dragon, one star dragon per army. It's 3 dragons, it's an investment for battle skills. If you include the flyers, it's already a third of the army invest on 1 battle skill. Definitely makes the battle skills weaker when you have the variety rule. You can have only 4 armies, so then you can have 4 of each. Unless they're in the garrison, recruiting the garrison, you're not gonna have those for long. Only 1 dragon. We'll cap the phoenix as well. The phoenix spam is also there, exists. 4 phoenixes. That's actually it's like why use silver in Garvin use 4 blue phoenixes, right? Only 1 dragon. Per type allowed in the army. Honestly, if you can recruit a moon dragon and a star dragon, you're probably just gonna put a Lord and Sigard in the unit instead of a sun dragon. Or you're gonna put a phoenix instead of a sun dragon anyway, so 2 is gonna be fine. So 3 for a little bit more, you know, flying makes sense for the flavor of the army. So this is more than fine. Because how these units are limited, there's also gonna be restriction how you build the army regarding battle skills. Because if you're gonna consider more flying units, you're gonna put phoenixes with dragons combined in the army. So how do we make it clear for the Knights of Caledor with their unique dragons? Because Knights of Caledor unique dragons are like, you know, like their unique regiments of renown, right? It's like their special units. These are faction units. Knights of Caledor can, those are not regiments of renown, they're just special units. We're not gonna treat them as regiment now. This is a unique thing of Knights of Caledor. They were in a shitty position. You see these restrictions here. Now go try play Knights of Caledor with these restrictions. They have to have something strong for all that pain in the ass that's gonna be their campaign with these rules. I guess to make it a little bit clear, Unique dragons are exception. They can have more dragons in the army. And Knights of Kaldor can confederate Kalidor. This is gonna be the thing for the Knights of Kalidor. That confederation is it's basically higher RNG. What's gonna happen there? They might even get eliminated before they even get it available. Okay, that's it for the Knights of Kalidor. And we have Eltarion. The fuck if I know what I'm gonna put for Eltarion. I feel like Eltarion already with the general house rules is gonna be difficult. Mistwalker is already limited right here. They have no battle skills and they're stronger in Eltarion's army, and they're gonna be limited to 4 of each anyways. Maintain the balance of these rules, that's like impossible. You need Ultron. We need Ultron pretty much with all the high elves. That's probably gonna be one of the campaign objectives. Like high elves without Ultron. Like yeah. It's Warhammer, bitch. It's not just a game here. I feel like the restrictions are already extreme for the Eltarion as is. Because Eltarion without the early confederation are gonna go aggro on fast on the rest of Ultron before it gets taken down. Gonna be so limited. No faction gets hurt as much here as Eltarion with no confederations. Maybe Teclis does. But what's gonna be the special thing being as high elves? Because honestly the Mistwalker units are nothing special. Being 4 of each, it's fine. Those guys on top take a while to get 4 of each. And you can just use other units too. I guess the special thing for Eltarion is not to restrict Mistwalkers. So they just leave them at the general variety rule. Because you can play Eltarion campaign no problem without using a single Mistwalker unit. So what is the incentive there? You need Knights of Torgawal? You don't need Knights of Torgawal. You can finish a campaign before Knights of Torgawal in a regular setting, right? But not restricting Knights of Torgawal more, you know, on 1 per army could be his, you know, special thing. But the other Mistwalker units are nothing special. They don't have range buffs, and they're only gonna be decent in his army. I'll give it a Savricon for Teclis, no. If Teclis wants Ultron, he's gonna have to go there. Darren Grim more than 10 missile units. This. No. No. I guess not restricting Knights of Torgawal, it seems like it's almost good enough. You still have the variety rule on 4 per army. Now we're gonna keep the hero 3 per category for this. Not gonna affect on the faction. Melee Tarring is 4 nobles. I could see that giving Eltarion 1 more of each hero. That's just not good enough. Not good enough just for 1 Lore Master. I honestly don't think we have to do anything around Eltarion. The general house rules and the rules for the high elves already do enough for him. But you know, for the sake of them having something, we should add something. I think for the sake of Eltarion, since he has to go to the Badlands, he can declare 2 allies. I think that makes sense. This could be a thing for Eltarion. Since we'll definitely make Eltarion objective other than Ultan to take the other side. If you don't create an objective list, you know, that has to do something, like what's the point of then, you know, doing all these rules? So we're gonna have to create objectives too. And campaign objectives gotta be the hardest part of this shit. And as the high elves, they care about Ultan more than anything. It's like Avalorn, Teclis, Nagarite pretty much have will have pretty much the same objective, just like how the campaign will go. Because if you do anything else, you're gonna get strangled by their primary, you know, objective. There, you can't do shit if the all the guys exist. That you have to deal with them instead. So there is not really options there. Ultan comes first. That's like the objective of high elves. It might sound boring, but this is just how it is. This is like nothing really makes sense otherwise. So this is definitely one of the primary objectives for the high elves. Keep in mind there are no confederations, so you have to work together. Whoever remains. They're gonna be loose conditions, and they're gonna be more than one objective. They're not gonna be any short campaign victory, long campaign victory goals. Fuck that shit. Scrapping that shit completely for this type of campaigns. It still has to be a campaign that can take a moderate amount of time, like 40 to 60 hours. We're not making the standard short campaign victory campaign that takes 20 hours. So it's normal objectives, not short, not long, normal. But because of the potential difficulty, you know, it could be much longer, or you might just get killed much faster. There is always an unpredictable random fact that happens in campaigns. And if these things don't go your way, they will not respect what you're doing. So you can't let Tyrion say, Tyrion, we're gonna go conquer the Empire. No, you have to go deal with Dark Elves. So Tyrion campaign is always gonna be Ultan and Nagarth. There's like no workarounds. When you create such strict rules, that's just what it is. Tyrion campaign is that. Some factions will poke you, but this is what his objective is gonna be. Touch that, there are gonna be loose conditions. And we're talking more talk about the loose conditions when we get deeper into campaign objectives. And I'm gonna get a coffee. I'm here, boys. There's gonna be a long lunch break in about an hour. So, Everest, huh?
No rest, no weakness.
So we'll make a special thing for Everest that they can declare one more ally. So the start of the campaign, regarding how the alliance is gonna work in this Ultimate Challenge campaign system, we can ally with the factions of our race, so the high elves can ally among themselves. And one more race which is declared at the start of the campaign. So for Everest can declare two of the races as his allies. Why wouldn't he just be the greenskins? What are we talking about? Are we talking about the Storm Knight? So we have Orlor Master Specialty, Outlaw Specialty, Attain, Nagarite, Knights of Kalador, and Everest. Okay. Number 9. So regarding unit restrictions, we still have Phoenixes. We'll put the one Phoenix per type. Number 9 large. So the general house rules restrict variety, enforce variety, cap the heroes. I think technologies are fine as it is. You guys have any questions, just ask. Campaign objectives is probably gonna be the hardest thing to do for this. We have a unit restrictions here. I think that's it for the unit restrictions. Sisters, Guard, Dragon, Phoenix. We didn't miss anything. Where did my dad go? Buy cigarette on another continent. What are we doing? House rules, but what kind? This house rules gonna be like the base for the ultimate challenge campaigns we're gonna be doing in the future. So we're creating general house rules that will apply more or less to all factions, and then we're making house rules within the factions regarding objectives, regarding unit restrictions, and what each faction has more. So it's supposed to create a difficult campaign, and also have some variety in flavor. So challenging to play and fun to watch. After we finish the rules, can you share the rules somewhere? Yes, I will. I will create a command for it. Ultimate Challenge Campaign. UCC. Art command UCC to be added. There you go. So you guys have any questions or suggestions regarding the high elves? Or should we go into campaign objectives? I think the unit restrictions are good. I think the faction flavor is good. You have to keep in mind all this works together. And some of the rules, work with each other as well. No life lore, that's too big of a restriction. We already have limited archmage, mages, and other units. We have to still have things available in the game that are part of the game, with the exception of stuff like, regular confederations and lightning strike, to name a few. So, playing as the High Elves, let's say we're playing Eoten, we're playing Asterion, we cannot confederate. So we have to ally with more elves, we have to mind what they're doing. We can only get one Archmage. If that Archmage gets killed, we don't get another. They're capped of 3 mages, which means they're gonna have to go into army, and we're gonna have to, think twice which lord we're gonna get. So there's gonna be all the limited magic and more variety regarding that. Alistair must be given a White Lions flavor army. Is another faction, so I don't recognize that. No. Count for 3 mages, basically 3 life mages. Could be, yes. Because how are you gonna make melee work if you don't have life mages? But you have to also consider this, Godric. Consider this. You have less Sisters of Avalon. You have less Phoenix Guard. You have less Star Dragons and some other units. So you might need a mage that deals more damage. Any rules on Sword of Cain? No. The Sword of Cain is actually a big penalty for this type of campaign, because if you can ally with people, the Sword of Cain is causing a diplomacy threshold penalty. Which a lot of people don't understand what it does, but it makes people hate you, even if they like you. The army cap, like I said, the rules, these are general house rules which apply more or less to all factions, but there are some exceptions, like we have no confederations here, but Knights of Kalador can confederate Kalador. So we'll definitely have different sets for different races. Are these rules going to apply to Tomb Kings? Well, the Tomb Kings will get their own rules. So let's see. Army's cap of 4 for Tomb Kings could be higher. Regiments Renown will be the same for Tomb Kings. No confederations, they have no confederations. Heroes cap of 3 per category will apply to the Tomb Kings. No Lightning Strike will apply. The Balance of Power rule will apply. Only one lord in the campaign, only one lord or hero in the campaign can scale immortality. Well, they're Tomb Kings, so the immortality probably should work differently on them. Alliances will apply. Unit caps will apply. So most of this will apply still to Tomb Kings. The Tomb Kings will have some different things regarding campaign objectives. Like right now we're talking about the high elves here. If any of these campaigns we play or some, you know, we see the numbers like it's not enough, we'll increase the restrictions. Wait, unit tombs already unit kept what? It's variety, Amir. It's about variety. So you don't put 10 shopped in the same army. Well, Amir, we can only recruit one archmage with high elves, only one. And the archmage might not live on top of the rest of the rules. You never know what's gonna happen in the campaign. You can see the rule here, the third rule with the high elves. It's there. So let's get into the campaign objectives. So the standard campaign objectives, like the obvious ones, you know, control something, destroy something, complete, right? End. So instead of just control something, destroy something, we're gonna also put a lose condition. Campaign objectives. Well, for the high elves, the primary campaign objective is gonna be Ultron, but to not make it you know, tedious or always, you know, the same, we'll just make it so that the high elves have to control Ultron. So the main objective of the high elves is control Ultron, which means any of the high elves controlling Ultron, it's checked. Doesn't mean you have to control it, your ally high elf control it. As long as the Ultron is controlled by the high elves, the primary objective is checked. This one's gonna be a little bit longer one, I guess. Okay. Primary objective, Ultron under control of high elves. Which means, as long as all of these elements of Ultron are controlled by the high elves, this is the okay. If you have declared, let's say, Mazdamundi Lizardmen as your allies, and the Lizardmen have taken one of the settlements on Ultron, this will not work. You have to make sure all of the settlements are controlled by the high elves. So this is going to be the primary objective. We are aiming at the campaign being in the window of 40 to 60 hours. So not short campaign window, you know, click, late game, 20 hours end. Or, you know, some struggle that can take X hours. So we're aiming on 40 to 60 hours, which, you know, unpredictable things happening, so it could be shorter or longer depending, you know, what happens. So this is, you know, like 6-day campaign like we used to have back in the day, instead of just, you know, dropping stuff. So more like a regular campaign victory than a short campaign or a long campaign. So this is the primary objective, is Ultron. What's about the secondary objective? Well, this can vary between the factions, of course. We have Tyrion, Teclis, Avalorn, Nagarite, Eltarion, and Knights of Caledor. So the thing is, regarding the secondary objectives, you can, like, you know, declare it. and you can't really make it varied because some of these factions they start on Ultron. So you could use allies to get the secondary objective done as well, but you have to also keep in mind you're playing Tyrion, you're gonna have to deal with Dark Elves. So you can make Tyrion do other things. So the secondary objective for Tyrion must always be destroy Dark Elves. That's pretty much gonna be the secondary objective for Avalon as well. So it's the Dark Elves. Because you can't do other things while the Dark Elves exist. You're just gonna, create a, problem that's just gonna explode in your face later. Especially when you consider the rest of the rules in combined with that. So factions like Eataine, Avalorn, and Nagarite are gonna have the same secondary objective, which is to destroy the Dark Elves. You might need to send an army to the far east, but that's no problem. You just travel there, right? But the secondary objective for the primary High Elf faction has to be to destroy the Dark Elves. The Malus could be destroyed by other factions, but yes, you can send an army there, or you can pay the factions there to fight Malus as well. There are ways to do that without even going there. So primary objective for all the faction, Ultron under control of High Elves. By control, we're not meaning military allies, we're just meaning that High Elves just control all of Ultron. And the sector objective for Eataine, Avalorn, and Nagarite to destroy Dark Elves. So this is how the campaign is going to be for the objectives for this set of rules. So this set of rules, we're going to have a control, destroy, and lose conditions. Some of these things, are regarding the gameplay balance. How they, sort of the campaigns to go, or some things are just, flavor-wise. You can make every faction have, the balance in the right condition, to like force some kind of variety or flavor. It's just, how it is. You are playing a legendary, already a heavily restricted campaign. This faction just have to deal with Dark Elves. Just there's no way around it. The secondary objective, we still have Teclis, we have Imrik, and I guess an Eltarion. So for Eltarion, the secondary objective was to destroy the greenskins, right? That makes sense. He has immune to barren vessel attrition, and he wants to, avenge what he even wants to avenge. So destroying all the greenskins makes sense for Eltarion. So Eltarion does not need to go destroy Dark Elves, but he still has to hold Ultron, so he's gonna have to repel the Dark Elves. Or go to destroy them or use the allies for that. That's why he has an extra ally through, we can declare an extra ally at the start of the campaign. So Eltarion can declare Lizardmen and the Dwarves as allies. And then he can just work with those two. Pay them, work, coordinate, influence, and try to, make things go smoother for his condition. So Everest will put, like the obvious. Everest to destroy greenskins. This means all of the greenskins. The rogue armies are rogue armies. They don't count to any race, Mr. Wonderboy. If a faction is listed as the greenskins, he has to destroy it. He can travel up there, lonely, wandering wall. This is no problem. It's not like the Azak is gonna take over the Empire, you know. Traveling to the other side, you know, the world is large. You know, you're discrediting the size of the world if you know, such things, you know, are a problem to the games. Like, why didn't play a big map? The Savage Orcs respawn, yeah, they respawn, but they usually spawn close to the player. If they're listed on the greenskins, yeah, you have to go hunt them down. Because some of these factions might even just get killed by the other faction, so you don't have to go fight them, right? But you, as you have to finish them off, you're getting a conflict with other people, like the Skaven, for example. Blue Vipers take over Lastria. Okay. And we have Teclis. So what is gonna be the secondary objective of Teclis, guys? Teclis is down in Lastria and he's dealing with Skaven, right? I feel like Teclis' objective to destroy Skaven is a little bit extreme. Considering the Dark Elves still exist and he has to control Ultuan. I think Teclis' objective should be a peaceful Lastria. So without any of the hostile factions. We could create a Teclis' objective to create a peaceful Lastria as a secondary objective. I mean, taking Lastria with Teclis is no problem. He actually gonna have to take it because he can't really confederate anybody on Ultuan.
We can achieve much together.
So, peaceful Lastria, how would we go with that? He can work. He can declare a lizardmen as his allies, and get the non-aggression with the rest of them. Because you know, the other factions might fight each other, but as long as he's friendly with everybody in Lastria, that should work. So he would have to clear the Skaven, the Vampire Coast factions, and whoever is you know, hostile to him in Lastria. Controlling all Lastria is not gonna be a thing. We only have to take care of Ultuan, and this is, you know, the unpredictable thing. Because he cannot confederate in Ultuan, so he has to go there. He could drop things in Lastria and go to Ultuan first and then go to Lastria. I think the Teclis' objective in Lastria should be just to get non-aggression pact with all the factions in Lastria. I think that's enough. I mean, it could be a little bit worked around that he clears the face, but some of the listeners can be hostile. Control all the Lastria, you know, could be fine too. But I feel like Teclis just turns it's just a piece of Lastria, so non-aggression pact with all the factions in Lastria. that owned regions there. I don't think the occupation of the Lastria makes sense for this. So we had to deal with the Vampire Coast, Dark Elves, Skaven, Hostile Lizardmen. And as you're helping those, some of them might actually like you more, and some of them might hate you. Yeah, I think it's fine that Teclis just have to get non-aggression pact with everybody in Lastria. If a faction exists in the Lastria controls the region, Teclis has to get non-aggression pact with them. And if it has a non-aggression pact with them, that's the secondary objective met. You don't want to do something overly complicated with Teclis, because Teclis already has a rough time starting there. And there is other rules on top of everything. All the Lizardmen could roll hostile as well, and they could get wrecked by other factions too. He might even deal with a strong ult one, so this campaign could be really difficult or could go smooth depending on the RNG between the factions. So I think just peace in Lastria makes perfect sense for Teclis as the secondary objective.
Oh my god. Have you seen that shit?
Hey, Grass Razor, take the border.
What the hell?
Yeah, the Teclis has can have quite a challenging campaign with these rules. So, not to control all Lastria, just peace with all the factions in Lastria makes perfect sense, I think. This is also a unique objective too. But what if example was the multi-declare war, Teclis of war? Well, you're gonna have to fight him off. Take his lands. So if there is a faction last that doesn't want to give you non-aggression pact, you have to conquer them. Or try harder for a non-aggression pact. Pretty straightforward. So if anybody is not playing nice in Lastria, Teclis goes with his stick, just beats them up, and sings Kumbaya with the rest of them. Well, Godric, I'm not sure if you heard, but this is not going to be for every campaign. This is going to be rare campaigns we play sometimes. And this is going to be a base for it, which can be adjusted for the updates and Warhammer 3. Doesn't mean if Warhammer 3 gets released, we're going to do this. We might do it much later in the stage of the game, when we get burned out with everything else. It's not gonna be Warhammer 3 next year, so it's a perfect time to get this one for the Warhammer 2 instead of waiting the end of Warhammer 3. Everything new looks complicated until learning Godric. What's complicated here? Tell me. It's more about, you know, not the desire of learning new rules instead of being complicated, I feel. We made it pretty straightforward, I feel. This is basically just the rule set. We take out of this when we're playing a faction, so it's gonna be more clear. Something's gonna be more explained if you don't understand. Like I said, you can ask questions if something is bothering you. Even if we use this to play 1, 2, or 3 campaigns, I think people will be super happy. Anything to have a couple more interesting campaigns, right? Okay, so we have E attain Avalon Nagarite, a secondary objective, Iver a secondary objective, Teclis a secondary objective, and we just need Imrik now, right? We're not playing the first campaign with these settings, not planned anytime soon, but you never know. We might just do some testing, you know, see how it goes. Not a full campaign, you know. Since I don't do things off stream, you guys gonna see it on stream. When's Notepad Plus? Don't mind me, I'm just Pepega in these things, you know. It's like, this is simple in what I use. There's definitely better things to use. I will put it in pasta bin thingy on the net. This is just, we're doing the alpha version here. Has there been any updates on the upcoming Wood Elf DLC? December. The DLC in December. I can tell you guys immediately that we will not play every faction with this rule set, but we are still going to create a rule set for all of them. So it exists. Maybe other people want to do it. And we will take this base for any future rule sets that we're gonna use as a part of the campaign. This is the Ultimate Challenge campaign series. Right now, we're just doing it for the High Elves. We are on campaign objectives, and campaign objectives should be control, destroy, and the lose condition as well. So we have Imrik, Teclis. This is Order of Lord Mass. This, I guess Teclis is easier to write than the Order of Lord Mass. This is shorter. And we have Imrik. So what should be the Imrik secondary objective? You should have all the dragons. They're the Knights of Kalandor, not the Emperor of Kalador, huh? You must collect all the dragons. How many dragons it is? One of each type in the game. Damn, that's a lot of dragons. Well, there's an incentive to collect the dragons because of the limitations. So making that an objective, you know, I don't know. It doesn't feel right because there already has restrictions, so you would like to get those dragons anyways. Right?
None can best me in
Destroy dwarves then. Why would Imrik want to destroy dwarves? Tell me more about it.
Oh my god. Have you seen that shit? Holy shit. What the hell?
He has a grudge. But he didn't get the pearls of moonlight, gems of moonlight, light, something. Because of the name Khazar Dragon Slayer, huh? Thank you, Meister. So, you want Imri guys to destroy all dwarves? Man, Imrik campaign is gonna be fucked up, man, with this rule set. Who's he not gonna declare as an ally? I guess you work together with Greens to destroy the dwarves, and then you fuck off with the Greenskins. Greenskin ally. Well, you guys seen my Imri campaign, it was fucked up. Maybe we should make Imrik objective to be a big occupation of the East and the Badlands. Because destroying dwarves, you know, it's like meh. Because they could only get destroyed, you know, by other factions. Imrik's campaign must play Kumbaya. Shut up, Wankler. Don't you give me cake quiz. You do know that dwarves are my favorite faction. The most difficult thing for Imrik probably could be the Ulton thing. Okay, I know, I get it. I know what we're gonna do for the Imrik secondary objective. Okay, for Imrik's second objective, we will have must establish trade with Ultuan. which will be interesting because one of the loose conditions is the loss of capital. So we can't just drop our capital. Okay, this is a fun one. Okay, this is it for the secondary objectives. Secondary objectives: yet an owl Nagaret to destroy Dark Elves, Everest to destroy Greenskins, Tech List non-aggression pact with Lust and Factions which own regions. Imrik must establish trade with Ulton. So now we come to the spicy part of this. Now we come to the spicy part here. Loose conditions. Okay. Loose, lost. The obvious loose condition is the loss of the capital. So, for example, Imrik, without the loose condition, Imrik could just lose the Plane of Bones and take a settlement on the coast somewhere in the west and just make a trade with one of the Ulton factions or controlling all of Ulton. And that, like, easy game, easy life, easy campaign, right? The primary objective of the High Elves is the Ultuan under control of High Elves, which means all of Ultuan has to be controlled by the High Elves. Not you, not your allies, all your allies or you. It has to be High Elves. So that's the primary objective. If your lord gets wounded, maybe that's a pretty the strict one. This is a pretty strict one, you know. If you want to get something, you know, a consequence for losing the main army, we should just make it that, you know, the lord cannot be recruited again, like he got killed or wounded, you know, badly. I think, you know, to make a lot of these rules actually have effect, there has to be consequences. And I think capital for High Elves, it has to be a thing. All the High Elves control a great capital, right? So for the High Elves, a loose condition has to be they cannot lose their capital. It has to be very consequential. So losing capital. So that's gonna be one of the loose conditions. So if Tyrion loses Slaughter, Teclis loses Star Tower, Avalon loses the Gan Vale, Alitanar loses Arnheim, Eltarion loses Ivres, or Imrik loses the Fortress of Warrock, they just automatically lose the campaign. Its campaign is over. It's going to be considered a defeat. So there's a lose condition to losing capital. So you have to be careful not to lose capital. You have to make capital your most important province and make sure to not risk the capital just to, you know, do other things to get ahead. You lose your capital as Teclis all the time, rebels or chaos. Well, you're gonna have to defend it now. You're gonna have to have an army there, and you need to make sure not to put it under risk. So Teclis' capital is probably under most threat. Because, you know, you have to be prepared, you have to be there. If a capital is under threat, you have to drop everything to defend it. Make sure there's a second or a third army or the fourth army or a big arson army defending capital. God knows, you know, you're playing High Elves, all except Imrik will have a massive treasuries, massive money. Okay, so this is going to be the first lose condition for the high elves. You have to understand, when a faction gets destroyed, the lords are not dead. The lords still exist in the game. Their factions don't no longer exist. Tyrion is still running around somewhere. He just don't have any more, you know, sovereignty of a nation, faction. He can still come back into the game. So stuff like this, you know, is kind of irrelevant. The capital is the capital, whichever is your starting capital. So the second lose condition will be if you're the only high elves left. We're not gonna put like if all of Ulton is lost, that you lose the campaign, because that one is probably not gonna happen, because you can just prioritize. So we're just gonna put it there if you're the only high elves left instead. The loose conditions are not supposed to be, you know, have like workarounds and stuff like that. It's supposed to be, you know, big consequence, you know. Shit happens like that, it's over. It's like losing a capital. That should be a big thing, like crippling the whole faction. And like there's like no feeling of running a country, you know. You can just flip cities, right? So losing the capital should definitely be a lose condition. For the high elves, if you're the only high elves left, should be a lose condition as well. And we're gonna be adding one more. If you're the only high elf, you lose the campaign. There has to be other high elves, otherwise it's over. You just have to prioritize different objectives in the campaign. Like, you can't be greedy, so just hear me out. Let's say you're playing Tekris or Imrik, and you know, Ulton is under threat. Cult of Pleasure, Morati coming with the steroids. You just like click, 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 turn 30 half of Ulton on the Dark Hills. Well, go there. Go fucking there, save your people. You drop everything. You're not gonna blindfoldedly follow some kind of arbitrary objectives that are set by the developers that don't even play the game. Especially in a rule set that was created specifically, you know, but it actually tells you. Don't fuck around with it. There's an objective. Do it. Makes more sense than anything they've done. There are no confederations. You can ally with the other high elves, and you just make sure that you're not the last high elf left. If you're the last one, it's over. If you lose the campaign, you have to play 3 kingdoms. Somebody time me out, guys. Somebody time me out before, you know, we get some 3 kingdoms worshippers here. Guys, we are talking about the high elves here. We are not talking about the greenskins, the lizardmen, or the red men. These are the high elves loose conditions. Lothern is the capital of Eataine, so if Eataine loses Lothern, they lose the campaign. If the Shrine of Surian even gets raised, there's like it's a minor settlement, and you hear out of hand. It's like it's too restrictive and it's super inconvenient. Stuff like this is a no-no. We already have a capital restriction, and the Shrine of Surian can be raised by the randomly by the Dread Fleet or even Safari. Heck, I've seen Safari raise a Shrine of Surian. So what should be the third loose condition here? We'll make 3 loose conditions for every factions. Having 0 influence. That makes no sense. Well, if it wasn't the current meta of the game, the current state of the game, you know, guys, we're gonna adjust this to the, you know, the state of the game if need be, if we're gonna be doing this this series. You know, we could have said if the Empire get destroyed, you know, for example. But, you know, the Empire just gonna kill everybody. If all the Phoenix gates are lost, we already have this around the only high elves left, so we don't take the ult one thing. Oh, we'll keep the 2 loose conditions for now. We'll keep 2. So we have currently general house rules. Armies cap of 4. Above 4 armies you can still recruit lord for garrison, but that lord has to stay within the zone of control of own city or inside that city. So 4 armies, with the exception of garrison lords, which can get their own stuff as long as they're protecting the city. Regiments of renown cap of 2 per army. So you can have only 2 regiments of renown in any army, and they ignore unity restrictions. So if you're playing with, for example, Avalon, you can have 2 cities of Avalon in the army, and the regiment of renown cities of Avalon, making a total of 3. The regiments are unique; you can have only 1 of each. The rule number 3: no confederations, unless stated otherwise. Rule number 4: heroes cap of 3 per category, only 3 heroes per type allowed. So you can only have 3 handmaidens, 3 nobles, 3 mages, and 3 lore masters. If any of them get killed, you can get more, as long as they are no more than 3. To restrict how many you can use in both in armies and on the campaign map. So all of a sudden you can only have 3 of each, they become more precious in any of their roles. Rule number 5, obviously, you know, if you're ever gonna have a challenge campaign like this, the ultimate challenge as we call it, there's gonna be no lightning strike. No lightning strike unless said otherwise. The Crooked Moon casting might be will be probably allowed to use Lightning Strike if we create the rules for him eventually. Rule 6, Balance of Power and Auto Resolve. So no Auto Resolve if enemy has 15 or more units, with exception of Rebellions. So if you're attacking any force on the map and they have 15 or more units, we cannot Auto Resolve. We have to fight the battle. As you know, that's more than fair, and this is how it should be. You know, those battles are intended to fight, and not like 50-50 most of the time, so you fight every single battle. Rebellion's an exception to lower Tedium. Number 7, only one lord or hero in the campaign can skill Immortality. So you can only skill Immortality on one of the lords or one of the heroes. So put some consequences if the armies get defeated with heroes and lords, they will die. Unless one of those characters have Immortality. So other than your legendary lord and you know, the unique ones which currently have Immortality, in current situation you will only able to skill one with Immortality. To, you know, make sure the Immortality still exists and makes it unique, so you decide one character to have Immortality. Alliances. You can only ally with factions of your race and one more race which is declared at the start of the campaign. So as High Elves, we can only ally with other High Elves and one of them that is declared at the start of the campaign. So we can wait 68 turns and see who's gonna go on top and then ally with them instead. So you have to declare who you're gonna be able to ally at the start of the campaign. In the case of Ivaris, they can declare 2 allies at the start of the campaign. This is, I think, a very interesting thing, very interesting rule, because, like I said, you usually you ally later with the factions who come on top, but here you have to declare, you know, your allies at the beginning, who you can declare within the campaign. So you can work together with those factions to make them strong, or just leave it to the RNG. Regarding variety, units above tier 1 are kept at 4 per unit per army. Faction caps still apply, example only 4 quarterless allowed. So to promote variety, we kept all units at 4, unless they said otherwise, like the Sister Owl and like the Phoenix Guard. The Regiment's Renown ignore such restrictions. So you can have 4 White Lions and still use the 5th one in the army if it's a Regiment of Renown. And currently number 10 on this list of the General House rules is Make Chaos Great. And this is currently impossible in the current state of the game because they are absolute trash. So we have to consider using a mod. And on top of all these rules, especially the Auto Resolve one, we might just put the Chaos to 3 times or use a different Chaos mode. So this is, you know, I think I'll put a lot of thought into and check it out. We might just drop it as well. I don't think it will be tedious if there are 3 times on top of these rules, because you know, there's no lightning strike and there's no super quality armies, and you have to fight the battles too. If you put 3 times, it should be fine. I'm not talking about 20 times, 10 times, 5 times, 10 times, 20 times. I mean, I'm talking about just, you know, 3 times or maybe 5 times, maybe just 3 times. Because on top of these rules, a lot of chaos could be difficult, even just 3 times. Because the regular chaos is just garbage. For High Elves, the current rules are, we have the campaign objectives, primary, secondary, and loose conditions. So right now, primary objective for the High Elves is Ult 1 under control of High Elves. Doesn't mean they have to be allies, military allies. Just as long as the Ultron is controlled by the high elves, all of it, the primary objective is complete. Secondary objective is varies between the high elf factions. D10 Aulo Nagar have to destroy Dark Elves. Everest has to destroy Greenskins. Teclis has to get non-aggression pact with the last 10 factions which own regions. If they don't want to give non-aggression pact, I guess he has to conquer them. Imrik must establish trade with Ultron. And there are currently 2 loose conditions: losing capital at any point, so capital getting raised, or you're losing control. If you get sacked, you're fine. And also if you're the only high elves left. Rule number 2, missile infantry kept 10 per army, so your foot archers 10 per army. This is a high elf thing, so you can start the game with 19 archers. Yeah, there's different units, so you can have 4 pox arrows, 4 flaming arrows, and 4 peasant bowmen. It's still units in 3 different groups. Archmage Lord can be recruited. Only one Archmage Lord can be recruited in the campaign, so you can only recruit one Archmage Lord. If she dies, you can get another. Order Lord Master can recruit 2. Only one Citizen of Avalon allowed per army. Avalon can have 2 per army. Elich, how about you lose your declared ally? Well, when you declare an ally, you declare a lizardman, so you can ally with any of the lizardmen. Could be a loose condition, I'll think about it, but we'll leave it out for now. Only one Phoenix Guard allowed per army, Yetin can have 2 per army. Nagarite ignores variety rule for Shadow Walkers. Units can use 10 of them in every army. Only one dragon per type allowed in the army. Knights of Kaldor unique dragons are exception. Expection. Knights of Kaldor unique dragons are exception, and Knights of Kaldor can confederate Kalador. So this is for the Kalador. Everest can declare 1 more ally at the start of the campaign. So this is especially for Everest, so they can declare 2. And only 1 Phoenix per type allowed in the army. So you can only have 1 red, 1 blue, and 1 arcane in every army. So this is it for now. I feel like this is enough limitations. We're gonna see how any of this goes. I'm gonna have to put some thought into make chaos great. I think this is enough restriction for a test drive. So this is gonna be it for the high elves. We're gonna check the lizardmen the next time we talk about this. 2 hours later, still in load screen. I've been actually here for 4 hours. Hey there. 4 hours. The mounts don't count for the unit types, no. Then mounts are different rules. The mounts don't get buffed by the battle skills or technologies either. Okay, if I think more about it, we'll change some stuff. I'll put this as the version 0.1 for this. I'll put them on the command UCC. We're gonna have a long break, take a shower, get some food, and I'll be back a little bit later. I'll see you in a bit, boys.